Okay, think about this for a second. By the time a child born today gets their high school diploma, AI is going to be more woven into their lives than the internet is for us right now. That's a wild thought, right? So, how do we actually get them ready for that world? Well, today we're going to look at a really cool project that might just have the answer, a kind of blueprint for the future.
And that's really the heart of the matter, isn't it? I mean, AI is already here. It's in our kids' pockets, on their tablets. It's even popping up in their classrooms. So, the conversation isn't about trying to ban it or block it. It's about figuring out how to teach them to use it thoughtfully, ethically, and, of course, safely.
And this is a massive challenge for educators everywhere. The old playbook, it just doesn't work for this. We need something totally new, a fresh approach, and honestly, we need it like yesterday. All right, so before we dive deeper, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with this term digital citizenship. What does it actually mean? Well, a great way to think about it is it's like learning the rules of the road before you get your driver's license, right? You got to know how to navigate safely. Digital citizenship is exactly that, but for the online world, it's about knowing the rules of the digital road. Okay, so we get the concept. But here's the thing. You can't just hand a kid a textbook and say, here, read this and you'll be a good digital citizen. No way. It doesn't work like that. Teaching this stuff has to be hands-on, it's got to be collaborative, it needs a whole new kind of blueprint, one that's just as dynamic and fast-moving as the tech itself. So what does a blueprint like that actually look like when you put it into practice? Well, let's dive into this really amazing international project that tried to do exactly that. Just picture this. For a full 8 weeks, you've got students from all over Europe logging on together. And they weren't just learning the what of AI. Nope, they were wrestling with the big questions. What's its impact on our lives? And what is our role in this new digital landscape? And we're not talking about just one isolated classroom here. This was a true international partnership. We had students from Turkey, Greece, Romania, and Italy all collaborating, all in sync. It's such a great reminder that this whole digital citizenship thing, it isn't a local problem. It's a global conversation we all need to be a part of. And take a look at their mission here. This was so much more than just another tech class. They were aiming way higher. They were trying to build a real foundation of ethics, critical thinking, and, that crucial cross-cultural collaboration. It's really about shaping how these kids think, not just teaching them how to use a new tool. So, the big question is, how did they actually do it? How did they pull this whole thing off? Let's break down their 8-week journey and you can see how it all came together. This timeline is pretty incredible because you can really see the smart design behind the whole project. See, they started with the basics, right? What even is AI? But then they immediately jumped into the big stuff, their rights, the responsibilities as digital citizens. And I love this part. They looked at the positive side with AI for good, but they also tackled the really tricky topics, things like ethics and disinformation. Nothing was off limits. And you can see how every single week builds on the last, all leading up to this one big, final collaborative product. Now, to make all this happen, they used a whole bunch of cool digital tools. They used something called Padlet. It's kind of like a virtual bulletin board for everyone to introduce themselves and create avatars. Then they used Genially to build these awesome interactive presentations. And Wakelet was key for gathering up and organizing all their research. The really important takeaway here is that they weren't just learning about tech, they were learning through it, using the very tools they were studying. All right, so after 8 weeks of all this collaboration and learning, what was the result? What did they actually create? Let's get to the good part and look at the impact. And I'll tell you, this was way more than just turning in a homework assignment for a grade. The students poured everything they learned, all that new knowledge, all those different cultural perspectives, into something real, something tangible that could actually make a difference. And this was it, the grand finale of all their hard work. A collaborative ebook they called the AI Citizens Manifesto. And it's not just a report, not at all. It's their declaration. It's their vision for a future where tech works for humanity, not the other way around. And it was written by the exact generation that's going to have to build that future. How cool is that? But you know what? The manifesto was really just the centerpiece. They also created all this other amazing stuff. Powerful posters to raise awareness, really thoughtful blog posts, engaging video presentations, the whole shebang. It just goes to show, they didn't just learn about being good digital citizens, they actually started being them. They became creators and advocates for the kind of digital world they want to live in. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why should this project, with a bunch of students from 4 different countries, matter to the rest of us? Because it's so much more than just a nice, feel-good story. It's a blueprint. It's a real, practical model that has been tested and works. Any educator anywhere in the world could take this and adapt it to teach what are probably the most important skills for the 21st century. It proves that teaching kids how to use AI responsibly isn't some impossible dream. It's absolutely achievable. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with, a question to chew on. If the kids in your community, or even the adults, sat down to write an AI Citizens Manifesto, what would it say? What are the core values you'd want to protect? And maybe more importantly, what responsibilities would you all agree to take on to help build that better digital future? It's a really important conversation, and one I hope you'll start. Thanks for tuning in.